I always wondered how, something like Lodi Garden is so popular,
Yeah.
but Jamali Kamali's, tomb or the area around is not. And
Yes.
and you write in the book as well that it's a great place for clandestine lovers
Yeah.
or, people just looking to get away and, get some peace and quiet. But not really the most visited. But talking about Kamali, you said quite a mystery, right? There's some, references that said Kamali never existed. Some would say he was, a lover. Some had actually said that he was a star pupil.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on Jamali and Kamali, basically?
Yeah. So first is, you're right. This story of the picnic at Jamali Kamali, I've heard from so many people. Like anytime I've spoken to someone whose childhood in the 90s, 80s, 70s, around that time, especially post this area becoming a park,
Right.
I hear that for a very long time, a lot of school picnics happened here. A lot of, Sunday afternoons under more breathable air, used to be spent here. And for me, this was an anomaly. Now, again, because one is I have grown up not in Delhi, even though I'm a Delhi wala.
Right.
And my childhood wasn't spent in Delhi. Right. So I haven't really grown up with these monuments that I pretty much made my haunt in the last few years. So I would always hear these stories with a sense of, envy, because you go to the monument now and restrictions are immense. The tomb is always kept locked. Right. And you're always told of a mythical figure who will grant permission to you to go inside and see it. They always say, go to the Qutub Minar. And I said, but what do I do? I'll go there and ask who? Who do I need to ask? Now, of course, there is a process to get it done and you get in touch with the Archaeological Survey of India. But I still think for a monument that is so stunning, Jamali Kamali's monument is one of the most stunning secrets of the city. It's a gem-like tomb. And the figure of Jamali is so interesting, right? Because this is a man who straddled the eras of the Lodis and the Mughals. He was besties with Sikandar Lodi, who made him the poet laureate, who went to him with his own poems and used to say, have I written a good poem? Would you judge me? And Jamali used to give his advice. Jamali was a diplomat, a globetrotter. He loved aesthetics. He was a Sufi. Right. And he was a very trusted emissary. Yeah. But court politics led him to fall out of the Lodi Sultanate. Right. And when you have Ibrahim come into the picture, Ibrahim Lodi does not trust Jamali. Jamali realizes it, takes a back seat. But lucky for him, winds were changing. And they were bringing with them Babur. Right. And Jamali perhaps had an inkling that the Lodis would soon come to an end and it would be a new dynasty. Yeah. So at that battle of Panipat, where Ibrahim is defeated by Babur, Jamali writes a laudatory poem, because a poet can only sway you with poetry. Right. And Babur makes him a part of his trope. Now, in the late 1520s, when Babur is throwing this party in Agra, and Jamali is a part of this party. Right. We know that from the Baburnama. Right. I think it's that time when Jamali starts thinking about death, because that's when he comes back to Delhi and commissions the work on his mosque and his tomb in Mehrauli. Right. And when Humayun, Babur's son, comes into the picture, Humayun has, as you know, not only history buffs, but it's a story that we all know. Humayun fell off the stairs and passed away, and he had a very tumultuous reign, He literally got the throne, then lost it, then got it back, but then died. So in that tumultuous reign, at one point he had to go to Gujarat, and Jamali was sent with him. It's in Gujarat where Jamali dies. Imagine the pain on somebody's heart who wanted to be in Delhi, not knowing that he would be buried there. Right. In his last moments, he would have thought, I'm dying in Gujarat and my sheher is away from me. Correct. But in a rare act, this Sufi poet diplomat's body is brought back from Gujarat and buried in the tomb that he commissioned from himself.
And that would have been a long trip back in the day.
That would have been a long trip and a rare trip for somebody who's not an emperor.
Right.
And then a few years later, another grave comes next to him, another marble grave, who we start calling Kamali. much like Jantar Mantar and those things that
Right,
come out of
right,
a town.
right.
Now, historically, yes, it's been very difficult to know who Kamali is. In true fashion of historians, they would say they were best friends or they were roommates or whatever.
Right.
Others have, of course, said that he was a star pupil, another poet. We've also had a sense of understanding that maybe Kamali could be all of it, because and Madhavi Menon actually is the one who actually looked at this for the first time, that why must this boundary be created? Why can't a poet also be a lover? So as a historian, it became important for me to say that because our sources are very less,
Right.
I do not want to confirm
Agreed.
any identity.
Yep.
However, it was bugging me that it's so difficult for us to accept love, especially in times when it seems like love is becoming more unpopular, and it is easier to think of hate, and it is easier to think of boundaries and binaries.
True that.
So Kamali possibly being a lover was something that was explored by a range of people beyond the scholarly field, right? You have Sunil Gupta doing his photographs. You have Karan Turani doing an entire menswear collection on Jamali Kamali.
Yeah.
You have Naz Foundation, a lot of queer walks happening over here.
Right.
And it carved a space. So I think in many ways, Jamali Kamali for me became a space of looking at a history from various strands. Also, if you noticed, much like Taj Mahal, Shah Jahan's grave is the only thing that breaks the symmetry of his own monument, because he was not supposed to be buried there.
Right. It's an afterthought.
It's an exactly, after he passes away. And Jamali Kamali's beautiful symmetrical grave, the only thing breaking the symmetry is Kamali, because I think love can't be in such rigid boundaries and symmetries.